Late last night, Colombia's Constitutional Court suspended a U.S.-Colombia military basing agreement that was signed late last year under now former Colombian President Álvaro Uribe. This does not constitute a crisis in U.S.-Colombian defense relations, but it is going to cause a lot of problems for Colombia's president, especially in handling relations with Venezuela. The reason behind the court's decision stemmed from the fact that Uribe did not seek congressional approval for the deal. He said it was unnecessary since it was a continuation of policy with the United States under the Plan Colombia Defense Pact. The deal allowed U.S. access to 7 military bases in Colombia. That's something that makes neighbors like Venezuela extremely nervous, while also giving U.S. troops immunity from Colombian prosecution. Now the basing agreement is in the hands of Colombia's new president, Juan Santos, and the U.S. and Colombia basically have a year to renegotiate the deal if needed and resubmit it to Congress for approval. The U.S. is going to want to ensure that while this agreement is being debated in Congress, that its operations in Colombia undergo minimal disruption, particularly at the Palenquero base that the U.S. was really counting on to replace its base in Manta in Ecuador, where the U.S. has been forced out and has since had to compensate for that shift by boosting its presence in Colombia. Likewise, Santos, just having come into office, does not want to see a disruption in U.S. drug interdiction and crop eradication efforts, actually strengthen groups like the FARC, while this basing agreement is being sorted out. So this is really at the heart of negotiations right now between Bogota and Washington as the two try to work around this current snag. There are 2 big issues that are going to make this process very difficult for the new president in Bogota. One is the issue of the immunity clause for U.S. soldiers, which the U.S. would have a tough time compromising on. Nonetheless, the U.S. ran into pretty similar issues with Iraq and could work out a system for a joint U.S.-Colombian judiciary to rule on cases dealing with U.S. criminal acts. The second issue concerns Colombia's troubled relationship with Venezuela. Colombia currently is in a very delicate diplomatic situation with Venezuela, and since Santos took power in early August, he was very rapid in restoring relations with its neighbor, in spite of Colombia having very recently presented what they refer to as irrefutable evidence of Venezuela harboring FARC rebels. Santos, he's taking a softer stance toward Venezuela in spite of all this evidence that they're showing that Venezuela is harboring FARC rebels. So that puts him in a very delicate political situation right now.